Just sit back, relax while we get to what we scrutinizing.
Parece que acaban de disparar aquí en Highland Park. Chingo de balas están entrando. O algo está saliendo mal. Pero todos están corriendo.
Here we go again. Highland Park, Illinois. People gathered for a 4th of July parade. And someone opened fire. Killing at least 6 and injuring upwards of 24 or more. They do not have the shooter in custody yet. He is described as a white male between the age of 18 and 20 with long black hair. He is wearing a blue or white shirt and assumed armed and dangerous. A rifle was recovered at the scene. They won't say what type. There have been some reports that he was on perhaps a rooftop with a scope and fired down on the crowd from an elevated position. It's absolutely tragic, but it feels like there's no greater snapshot of the current American experience than empty chairs and picnic blankets from a 4th of July parade while police rush by to try and catch yet another mass shooter.
I've been talking about, the chaos that we've experienced over the last few days, from weekend to weekend. This is the 4th of July weekend here. You should hear fireworks behind in the background, and you're going to hear them because I want to enjoy this brisk air because we had a real hot one earlier and it came down, and I'm excited about that because now I get to sit out here and enjoy this brisk wind, this brisk air. But we want to get into this article, something that happened in our backyard out this way. This happened in Highland Park, Illinois. And when I got this update earlier this morning, I was like, well, here we go. Because what have I told you guys since the Uvalde shootout at the school? What have I told you guys since then? And even before then at the Buffalo grocery store? When it comes down to grocery stores, schools, public schools, where they want all your children at, instead of y'all homeschooling and doing different things like that, for whatever reason, y'all don't want no man in the house. Y'all want families broken. You want to, take your children to these public schools and all this different stuff. But these public schools, these shopping malls, these grocery stores, churches, and obviously parks, places that are out in the open, places where it's obviously known that they're going to be a great deal of people and a very, very large number of people, it makes you a soft target. A soft target that surely won't be armed, surely would be distracted, surely would be caught up in other things other than keeping your head on the swivel and being scrupulous and being aware of your surroundings. So, a disclaimer, you're going to hear a lot of fireworks because I want to be outside. When I tell you it was crazy hot this morning, earlier in the day, and the way that it came down after the rain, it's supposed to pretty much rain all week. But I'm going to tell you, that rain really, really brought a brisk coolness to the air. And it is just like I like it outside. So y'all know me. I like to walk. I like to talk to y'all when I walk, all that different stuff. But I'm just out here chilling, enjoying this brisk air. And I have to get on a show with my bro over at the BZN Talk, Internet Talk Radio, YouTube channel podcast with my boys, Lord Tyron Joe, in a second here. But I wanted to take, talking about soft targets and different things like that, I wanted to go to another place. Here in Matthew 24, starting with the 15th verse. They wilding out here. Starting with the 15th verse, it says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Now, what I get from that is I think about today about the gas prices and how, just what if it gets to $10? Can you imagine how much chaos it could be? Can you imagine the possible protests and different things? Possibly then. Could you imagine not being able to really tell, you know how they say, don't let your left hand know what your right hand doing. Could you imagine not being able to walk in your house with certain very, very vital, important things? Like, when COVID first hit, everybody was just, for some reason, I guess they were just scared they wasn't going to have anything to wipe the backside. So they were buying tissue up like crazy. To the degree that now, I'm sure a lot of people, after all that passed, they probably have been storing up tissue like never before, gradually. And hopefully that's what you've been doing. Hopefully you learned from that situation, said, you know what, along the way, I'm going to gradually store up on water. I'm going to gradually store up on tissue. I'm going to gradually store up on Q-tips and gauze and different things like that, and first aid things and all the type of things that, probably was scarce or people thought would be scarce in the Y2K when we were getting ready to go into year 2000 and people were all nervous and scared. Well, what I get from this scripture when it talks about not making certain moves, and, I think of it trying to warn that we're going to be in a day where people who you think are your neighbors are not really your neighbors. People who are going to be so desperate that they see how much you're storing up, and they realize they can't, because there were people that were really, really upset that they no matter where they went, tissue was just gone. They couldn't get it. Or Lysol was gone. They just couldn't get it. Wipes and disinfectant wipe were gone. They just couldn't get it. People are going to be eyeing you. I believe we're in a day where people are going to be eyeing you because there's going to be so much inflation, so much famine, where people don't know if they can get, clothes. The people don't know if they can, get food and different things like that. And you will have people who have watched you and you won't even realize they've watched you. And you'll find yourself having someone trying to steal from you or harm you and your family, all in the name of, I got to do it. I need something. And you know what? In those desperate times, in those purge, movie-worthy type situations, those people always seem like they need something more than you do. They never just says, hey, let me get some. Because I'm sure somebody might be willing to do that. But they always try to go just go overboard and take a life and different things like that because of greed. And so I think about things like that, as I mentioned to you before, about the soft targets and things that you got to watch out for. And I just think about, just these people. The article says at least 6 killed in shooting at 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois. That's in our backyard. Person of interest in custody. And this happened about 6:30 p.m. tonight. Robert Bobby Cremo III, who had been identified as a person of interest, was arrested around 6:30 p.m. local time in connection with the shooting. Nearly 9 hours after the shooting, officials said his vehicle was spotted and he was stopped after a brief pursuit. He is being taken to Highland Park Police Department as the investigation continues. Now, what's interesting to me is that, yet again, another so-called white man, 18 to 20 years old, was reported earlier. They said 6 were killed and as many as about 24 people were injured. And this man was taken into custody, no harm. But over across the way, in good old Akron, Ohio, LeBron James' neck of the woods, a young man who was being pursued in a traffic stop, when he finally does stop for some reason, God help him, he got out of the car and ran. No magazine in his gun, gun and magazine left on the seat of his car with his wedding band. And he ran from the police on foot. And it said that this man was shot about 60 to 80 times after 2 police officers pulled out tasers, and they seemed not to work. They pulled out tasers. 2 police officers pulled out tasers. They didn't do much. They said, they reported that they didn't seem to work or bring the man down. So a handful of officers opened up fire on this young man to the tune of about he hit and wounded about 60 to 80 times. But yet this young Caucasian man, Robert Bobby Cremo III, not only get to live and walk in with no harm, but he's gonna live to tell about, allegedly, in my estimation, I believe, when it comes down to these type of situations like today and the Uvalde shooting, and this is alleged, I believe that these people are allowed to purge. I believe that the things that you see in movies and stuff like that, art imitate life. And I believe that every once in a while you're going to see people like this who are allowed to purge because of the evil of this world and who their gods are. So when it comes down to it, we're going to keep our eyes on this story. But I just wanted to report that and give my perspective a tad bit on it, just to say yet again, just to put it out there yet again, that we have a situation where a Caucasian young man, was taken into custody, no harm, no issue, not even a scratch. But this young man over here, leaving a family behind in Akron, Ohio, young so-called black man, dead and shot about 60 to 80 times. Make it make sense. I'm out.